Namaskar, hello, welcome to NCERT's live phone-in program. This is a science session where we are going to discuss reproduction in plants. This is the fourth part of the same topic, and we have discussed a lot of things already under this topic. If you have any questions, any doubts, then keep on sending. We already have a lot of questions to discuss, and there's a lot to talk about still left. So you're watching us on VmVideocon Channel number 4, and if you have questions, you want to reach out to us, then send it on our email ID ciet.kishoremanch@gmail.com. You can also share your questions, your experience, or if you have read the chapter and you want to say something, tell us something, then our YouTube channel NCERT Official is the key. So go there, watch this program live over there and write your questions, queries in the live chat box. So we'll receive them instantly, and our expert who is present with us, and she'll be discussing the topic till 2:30. So she'll be answering all your questions. Let's meet her. We have Mrs. Reena Mahapatra. Welcome, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
And I think all of you are keeping.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon. Hope you all are keeping well. And like other sessions, you're mentally alert also and ready with your lots of questions. You know, this is really very interesting, that how the way you ask questions and how you understand, and this also gives us energy to go ahead. Okay?
Absolutely. Absolutely, ma'am. We hope you're well too. So, we will discuss reproduction in plants and the questions related to it. So, shall we begin, ma'am?
Yes, certainly.
Okay. So, what is it that we are still left with?
Okay. So, this is, as you have seen already, Tanvi ma'am told that this is reproduction in plants. Fourth time we are meeting in this topic. And this is the part 4, and this is the end part. It's not end of learning, okay? Whatever questions you are having, you keep on asking, and as much as possible, I'll try to, through some or other means, I'll try to answer this, okay? Before we start our today's session, little bit, as we are doing for other sessions, previous sessions also we did, so little bit of recapitulation. What did we learn in last session, that is in part 3, we learned about androecium and gynoecium. We also learned how gametes are produced inside this male and female reproductive parts. We also learned how fertilization takes place, and after fertilization the end product is called as zygote. Zygote divides and redivides and it produces an embryo, isn't it? So all these things already we had learned. So little bit of this had been left. Today we'll cover that and we'll be answering your questions. Okay?
Okay.
So now see, normally what happens, that you have seen that when male and produced in mature androecium and gynoecium, then fertilization takes place. And I had already talked about it. Now let's see. After fertilization, several changes take place in the carpel, isn't it? We had talked about that style and stigma, they fall off. The ovary that grows in size after fertilization, I'm telling. Inside the ovary, there are ovules. These ovules also grow in size. If fertilization doesn't take place, ovules remain in shrunken condition. As you find here, did you see here? The ovule is in shrunken condition. Why so? Because fertilization has not taken place inside this ovule. Okay. We also see that wall of the ovary, that is, this is outside the ovule and up to the surface of the ovary, the part we call as wall of the ovary. The wall of the ovary also grows in size. Okay. In certain plants, this wall of the ovary becomes very juicy, thick and fleshy.
Okay.
And this type of fruits. So see, when ovary grows in size, we call it as fruit. So where the ovary wall has been developed into fleshy fruit wall, that kind of fruit is called as fleshy fruits. As you find in mango, jackfruit, etc., they are having fleshy fruits. Whereas in certain cases, ovary wall that grows in size but that remains dry and not juicy. In such case, we call the fruits as dry fruits, as you find here. You can find here, these are the dry fruits. Again, dry fruits, inside them seeds are present. How they shed off their seeds? In these seeds, there is in certain dry fruits, as you find in case of almond, the ovary wall or the fruit wall, developed fruit wall, never breaks open. So, to release the seeds, that ovary wall has to be broken down, which can be done by physical means or by chemical means. Whereas there are certain fruits, as in case of walnut, you can find here ovary wall has been dry, ovary wall has been broken down to release the seed. Okay, now that is different. What are fleshy fruits? What are dry fruits? Now inside, okay, we'll come about seeds a little bit later. Now, normally, every plant produces large number of seeds and fruits. Just to think, if these seeds and fruits fall near the plants, and from all of them, if plants start growing up, what problem would happen? There will be so many plants growing there, and this will cause severe intra-specific competition for water, minerals, etc., etc., isn't it? So there is a tendency for the plants to send their fruits and seeds away from them, and this method is called as fruit and seed dispersal. Understand? Now see, plants are, they are immovable. ओके, प्लांट्स तो मूव नहीं कर सकते हैं ना, तो वे कैसे अपने से दूर सीड और फ्रूट को भेजेंगे? कोई एजेंट की जरूरत होती है इसके लिए. तो ये एजेंट विंड हो सकता है, वाटर हो सकता है, इवन लिविंग ऑर्गेनिजम्स भी हो सकते हैं. ठीक है, जैसे एक के बाद एक हम लोग एग्जांपल देखेंगे. जैसे आप देख सकते हो यहाँ पर है फ्रूट्स एंड सीड डिस्पर्सल बाय विंड. हवा के साथ जो फ्रूट एंड सीड डिस्पर्सल होता है, इसमें आप जो ये लोअर पिक्चर देख रहे हो, इसमें आपको दिखाई दे रहा है, ये कहाँ आप कर सकते हो, किसमें आप इस टाइप के फ्रूट्स देख सकते हो? मेरीगोल्ड और गेंदे का फूल. ओके, इन मेरीगोल्ड व्हाट डू यू फाइंड दैट दिस आर एक्चुअली फ्रूट्स, and along with the fruits, at the top of the fruits, hair-like structures are present, or you can say thread-like structures are present. These thread-like structures are arranged in very peculiar manner, just like an open parachute. This is, calotropis, what we say milkweed plant. यहाँ पर क्या होता है? यहाँ पर seeds के साथ वो hair-like structure और cotton-like outgrowth is present. Understand? आपने देखा होगा समर सीजन में कुछ ऐसे रुई के सीड्स उठते रहते हैं, है ना? तो ये किस लिए है? ताकि इनका सीड डिस्पर्सल बाय विंड टेक्स प्लेस. एंड व्हेन seed dispersal takes place by wind, along with wind, sometimes they cover thousands of kilometers and they settle on the soil and then they grow into new plants. This way, there will not be any competition among similar type of plants, and plants can grow better in new environment. Likewise, sometimes some plants take help of water. So, as you find, ये देखो, ये लोटस के फ्रूट है. आपने देखा है कि ये लोटस के फ्रूट? आपने सीड तो देखा होगा लोटस के. Lotus seeds are commonly called as makhana. Okay, so these are the seeds inside. This is the fruit. Okay, this is the whole thing is the fruit, which is spongy, and inside that these are the seeds. So when dried, lotus fruit starts floating along in water, and the spongy part starts rotting. When spongy part starts rotting, then seeds settle at the bottom. But in the meantime, the fruit has covered much distance. Likewise, here you can find this is coconut. Normally, you know, coconut plants, where do they grow? They grow near the seashore, and coconut has got over its fruit. You can find its fruit wall contains fibrous hair-like structures, isn't it? You might have seen ropes made up of coconut husk. So this husk is spongy. Okay, so this spongy husk traps air and makes the fruit very light. So it gets carried away with water current, and then it settles somewhere. It settles in your picture. You can find where it settles. There a new plant starts growing. Likewise, we find several fruits and seeds are carried away by animals. In your picture, you can find what you see here, that fruit is having several hook-like structures or thorn-like structures over these. So they get stuck with the fur or hair of grazing animals, and then this way they get carried away. And where they fall, their new plants grow. Got it?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, here you find this is a bird. It's eating. There are several different types of birds, and there are several plants which grow edible fruits. So birds eat these fruits, but seed coat in such fruits are indigestible. ये जो सीड कोट है ये इतना थिक होता है, ये हजम नहीं होता है. तो जब बर्ड्स का एक्सक्रीटा के साथ ये सीड इंटैक्ट बाहर निकल आता है, और जहां पर गिरते हैं वहां से न्यू प्लांट होते हैं. आपने देखा है ना, बैनियन का बरगद का पेड़ अजीब अजीब जगह पर होते हैं, छत के ऊपर, घर के ऊपर, जहां पर आप सोचते होंगे कि वहां तक कैसे पहुंचा. तो यही बर्ड्स ही उसे लेते हैं. ओके, there is certain plants where seed dispersal takes place by bursting mechanism. In such plants, you find fruits consist of large number of seeds, and when fruits are ripe, completely ripe, they suddenly burst. And when they suddenly burst, a force is created, and due to that, seeds will be scattered. Thus, they are moving plants. Okay, so these are different methods of seed dispersal. अब तो सीड डिस्पर्सल हो गया. हम लोग ये भी पढ़े थे कि सीड्स होते हैं, कौन सी चीज सीड में डेवलप करता है आफ्टर फर्टिलाइजेशन. आई एम वेरी मच श्योर यू हैव रिटन द आंसर इन चैट बॉक्स. इट इज ओव्यूल. ओव्यूल आफ्टर फर्टिलाइजेशन ग्रोस इनटू सीड. इनसाइड सीड व्हाट इज प्रेजेंट, व्हाट यू एक्सपेक्ट. ओव्यूल के अंदर क्या था? ओव्यूल के अंदर फर्टिलाइजेशन हुआ था. फर्टिलाइजेशन के बाद क्या बना था? जाइगोट. जाइगोट डिवाइड्स एंड रीडिवाइड्स. जाइगोट देखो, जाइगोट है यूनिसेलुलर स्ट्रक्चर. ओके, इट डिवाइड्स एंड रीडिवाइड्स टू फॉर्म अ मल्टीसेलुलर स्ट्रक्चर, जिसे हम लोग कहते हैं कि एम्ब्रियो. ये एम्ब्रियो जो है, ये आप कह सकते हो एकदम प्रीमैच्योर, एक बहुत छोटा सा प्लांट है, जो कि बाद में प्लांट में, फुल फ्लेज्ड प्लांट में ग्रो करने को जा रहा है. So you must be thinking, you have seen many such seeds. Can you see embryo? Look here. This is in this slide. If you look at the slide, you can find there is a gram seed. Okay. I have got a fresh gram seed also for you. This activity, please you do today at home. What you do? Gram seeds, rajma seeds, और मटर के दाने जो अभी विंटर में आ रहे हैं. अगर ये ड्राई है, so you soak it 5 to 6 hours. Okay. So when you have soaked it, why I'm telling you, I'll show it, but I don't know how much clear it will be. So you see with your eyes and you'll know. So these seeds have soaked and they have become soft. So what did I do? I have removed its upper covering, which is seed coat. Ovule wall जो थे ना, वॉल ऑफ द ओव्यूल, वे सीड कोट में बदल गए. तो उसके वॉल को, सीड कोट को हम रिमूव कर लिए. रिमूव करने के बाद मुझे क्या मिला? ये वाला हिस्सा हमें मिल रहा है. आपको दिखाई दे रहा है तन्वी जी? आप देख सकते हैं. इज इट क्लियर?
यस मैम, वेरी क्लियर.
तो ये जो चीज है ना, ये पूरा चीज जो है ये एम्ब्रियो है, समझे?
Okay.
ये दिस इज गोइंग टू ग्रो इनटू अ प्लांट. व्हिच पार्ट एग्जैक्टली? तो आप थोड़ा सा इसको प्रेस करोगे, देखोगे ये दो पार्ट में डिवाइड हो रहा है ना? ये दो जो है इसमें फूड रिजर्व रहता है और इसे कहा जाता है कोटिलेडन्स. एक्चुअली प्लांट में फूड कौन देते हैं? लीव्स. तो इसे कहा जाता है फर्स्ट लीफ ऑफ द प्लांट और कोटिलेडन्स. इस प्लांट में दो कोटिलेडन है, सो इट इज डाइकोटिलेडनस प्लांट. ये जो आप रिमूव किए, इसके बाद वाला हिस्सा आई एम श्योर यू आर नॉट एबल टू सी वेरी क्लियरली, इसलिए हम आपको कह रहे हैं कि आप खुद इसको करके देखिए. आप ये देख सकते जो सीट के बीच में यहाँ पर एक छोटा सा पार्ट है, छोटा सा एक ट्यूबुलर स्ट्रक्चर है. ओके, ये जो स्ट्रक्चर है ना, ये आप अभी स्लाइड में देखो प्लीज. आप देख सकते हो दो कोटिलेडन के बीच में ये वाला ऐसा वाला हिस्सा है. ये जो हिस्सा है ना, ये एग्जैक्टली प्लांट में डेवलप हो रहा है. ये अपर पार्ट which is called as plumule, that will be growing into stem, and lower part will grow into roots. Understand? आप ऐसे डिफरेंट टाइप्स के सीड्स लेके देख सकते हो और तब आपको पता चल जाएगा कैसे एम्ब्रियो इज ग्रोइंग इनटू अ प्लांट. ओके, देखो जो प्लांट में एक कोटिलेडन होता है उसे कहा जाता है मोनोकोटिलेडन. ओके, monocotyledonous seed या monocotyledonous plants accordingly we call them. Got it?
Got it. Okay. मैम, जो हमारे पास लास्ट के सेशंस पे कुछ क्वेश्चंस आए थे and we were unable to take them. So shall we take them in this particular session?
Yes, certainly.
Okay. So these questions are sent by students, and the first question is: are the microspores produced in sporangia?
Certainly, microspores are produced in sporangia. Okay, यहाँ पर थोड़ा सा मैं दिखा रही हूँ आपको याद है शायद हम लोग इन सेशन 1 और 2 में देखे थे, फंड्स के बारे में पढ़े थे. फंड्स के लोअर साइड में कुछ ऐसे ब्राउन कलर के स्पॉट जैसे स्ट्रक्चर्स थे, उसे हम लोग क्या कह रहे थे? सोरस. एंड ये सोरस में बहुत सारे स्पोरेंजिया है, और वो स्पोरेंजिया एक्चुअली मीन्स अ sac which contains spores. तो इस टाइप के फंड्स में जो स्पोरेंजिया थे, दिस स्पोरेंजिया आर they are same टाइप. तो हम लोग इसमें जो स्पोरेंजिया थे इसको स्पोरेंजिया कह रहे हैं, और उसमें जो स्पोर्स है सिर्फ स्पोर्स कह रहे हैं. लेकिन जैसे जैसे फंड तो एक लोअर टाइप ऑफ प्लांट है, लेकिन एंजियोस्पर्म्स में फ्लावर बेयरिंग प्लांट्स आर वेरी हाई टाइप ऑफ एडवांस टाइप ऑफ प्लांट्स. इसमें क्या होता है? ये स्पोर्स दो डिफरेंट टाइप्स के हैं, मेल स्पोर्स एंड फीमेल स्पोर्स, और माइक्रोस्पोर्स एंड मेगास्पोर्स रेस्पेक्टिवली. आप जो देख रहे हैं यहाँ पर एंजियोस्पर्मिक प्लांट्स में क्या होता है? ये माइक्रोस्पोरेंजिया के अंदर they are developed inside microsporangia, and megaspores are developed inside megasporangia. तो यहाँ पर मेगास्पोरेंजिया माइक्रोस्पोरेंजिया कहाँ पर है? आप एंथर के अंदर हम लोग पढ़े थे, ट्रांसफर सेक्शन ले तो उसके अंदर हम लोग नॉर्मली देख सकते हैं ये 4 साइक्लिक स्ट्रक्चर्स, ईच वन इज वन माइक्रोस्पोरेंजियम, एंड इसके अंदर बहुत सारे माइक्रोस्पोर्स डेवलप होते हैं. लाइकवाइज ओव्यूल इज द मेगास्पोरेंजियम, एंड इसके अंदर मेगास्पोर डेवलप होता है. आप जब हायर क्लास में जाओगे देखोगे ये मेगास्पोर धीरे धीरे कैसे इसमें डिविजन होके मेगास्पोर एंड माइक्रोस्पोर्स दे गिव राइज टू गैमेट्स.
Okay. Ma'am, we've got 2 questions for this particular session as well. Vanshika पूछ रहे हैं that can human help in seed dispersal?
Yes, can human help in? Yes, certainly. हम लोग कितने सारे फ्रूट्स खाते हैं, सोचो तो. मैंगो, we take jackfruit and we throw away the seeds. So where they fall, their new plants are growing. Like this, human beings, really we are helping the plants in different ways. See, from mangoes are grown at one part of the world, and we take it to other part of the world, isn't it? This way also we are helping in seed dispersal and fruit dispersal.
Okay, ma'am, she is asking one more question. So she is saying all the seeds have same structure or there's any change?
No, certainly no. All the seeds do not have same internal structure. I think you are asking same internal structure, isn't it? So if it is internal structure, then I have to say that all dicotyledonous seeds more or less they are having similar structure. ऐसा है कि उसके cotyledons का shape थोड़ा change हो सकता है, but otherwise they are made up of similar parts. Likewise, monocot plants basic structure is same, but they are having single cotyledon, and हमने जो दिखाया था ना आपको plumular radical जो है monocot plants में, ये plumular radical they are very weak and they are covered by a shield like structure. So इतना difference होता है. जैसे आप basically monocot seeds are different, dicot seeds are different in structure, but their parts are basically similar.
Okay, okay. I hope, Vanshika, you have got your answer, and if there's still any doubt, we're still available. You can send more questions. Ma'am would love to answer all your doubts. Okay, ma'am, we've got more questions as well. So in cross-pollination, pollinators transfer pollen grains to the same species, or they can transfer to different species as well?
अच्छा, ये बात है. देखो, pollination क्या है? Pollination is journey of pollen grains from the anther to the stigma of the flower. So इसमें क्या होता है? एक anther से निकलने के बाद pollen grains are carried away by different agents, and they can fall on the stigma of any flower, isn't it? लेकिन ये जो further development of पोलन ग्रेन्स है ना, पॉलिनेशन के बाद उसका फर्दर डेवलपमेंट होता है. जैसे हम लोग पहले पढ़े हैं, पोलन ग्रेन्स विल एब्सॉर्ब वाटर फ्रॉम द स्टिग्मेटिक सरफेस एंड देन दे विल बर्स्ट एंड दे विल गिव आउट अ पोलन ट्यूब. ये सब सारी चीजें तभी होगा जब वो सेम स्पीसीज के मैच्योर से कार्पेल के ऊपर ही गिर रहा है. ओके, मैच्योर स्टिग्मा के ऊपर ही गिर रहा है, तभी फर्दर डेवलपमेंट इज पॉसिबल. ऐसे तो पॉलिनेशन कैन टेक प्लेस, मींस pollen grains can fall on the stigma of any flower, but their further development of pollen grains will not take place and it will not produce gametes.
Okay. मैम, अगर हम एंथर की बात करें, एंड एंथर दे मैच्योर एट अ पर्टिकुलर टाइम एंड द pollen grains are released, then why does we find pollen grains always somewhere or the other on anther?
एक्चुअली हम लोग एंथर में हर वक्त pollen grains नहीं देखते हैं. pollen grains के डेवलपमेंट के डिफरेंट स्टेजेस में हम लोग देखते हैं. See, if you take a any plant, say China rose you have taken, you're observing the flower. When the flower is in bud condition, you take it and open it, and you'll find anthers are there, but anthers do not contain those yellow dry powder like structures. When yellow dry powder like structures are developed, then only we call them as pollen grain. Okay. So you can take the anther and you can cut it and observe under a microscope. If you could see it, you could see that it is, you can see microsporangia. Inside microsporangia, microspores are developing stage. Understand? Okay. But when the flower has opened, then pollen grains have developed. That means, actually microspores, they divide and then they will give rise to pollen grains. Okay. Understand? Yes. So always pollen grains नहीं होते हैं. For a particular time only they will be present on the anthers. Anthers burst करते हैं and pollen grains they come out.
Okay, okay. Ma'am, Vanshika is asking one more question. So she's asking, what is the main role of pollen grains in fertilization of plants?
Just I couldn't get it. Will you kindly repeat it?
Ma'am, what is the role of pollen grains in the fertilization of plants?
See, I told you in sexual reproduction what is required, gametes are required, male part should produce male gamete, female part should produce female gamete. Previous sessions, if you go through, you'll see that pollen grains fall on the stigma, then they burst and then they give out the pollen tube.
Okay.
You must be remembering, I don't have that slide, otherwise I would have shown you. So this pollen tube, when pollen tube is moving through the style, and then they will move downwards, and then this pollen tube will enter inside ovule. If you remember, as far as I remember, I think this viewer was there in previous sessions also. So if you look at this, you'll find that when pollen tube is moving through the style, then what's happening, inside them a cell is there which is called as generative cell. The nucleus of generative cell divides and it produces two male gametes. Male gametes are produced, and so when pollen tube touches the ovule, suddenly it will release two male gametes. Inside the, look at this picture. Inside the mature ovule, what is present? There is present a female gamete. So when two male gametes are entering, out of them, the stronger one fuses with the female gamete and forms the zygote. That means pollen grain is very important. It is producing male gamete, which will fuse with the female gamete and will form zygote and embryo of the plant later.
It's here, male gamete, female gamete. So gamete, is it a type of cell?
Certainly. Gamete is a cell. We call them gametes as reproductive cell. To be a cell, what is required? Plasma membrane is required, cytoplasm is required, nucleus is required, some cell organelles are required. These gametes are having most of them. Okay. Understand? They have plasma membrane, they have got cytoplasm, nucleus is present, male gamete has got mitochondria and some Golgi bodies. Extra things are not present. Female gamete is having most of the things. Why so much difference among two gametes? Male gamete is moving and reaching up to the female gamete, but female gamete is sitting at, isn't it? So male gamete, as it is moving, it has to be light. So extra cell organelles are not present in them, only which are required, like mitochondria, which will provide energy for movement. So that will be there. Golgi bodies, which will cut through their wall of the cell, gamete wall, female gamete wall, only Golgi bodies are present. But female gamete is having most of the cell organelles. Okay. It's a cell.
It is a cell. Okay. Now, cactus, if we talk about cactus. So, is cactus gymnosperms?
Cactus is not a gymnosperm. Okay. Yes, I got this picture. Now see, in cactus, to be gymnosperm, the plant has to be without flower. Okay. See, this is the cactus, it has got flower. So it's proven, it's not gymnosperm. The upper picture you see, this is the gymnosperm. Actually, they do not have, can you call this as flowers? If I say they are the collection of flowers, will you believe? You'll say, no ma'am, you're not telling the truth. So, a nice looking, normally brightly colored things come to our mind, which is having calyx, corolla, etc. In gymnosperms, these structures are absent.
Okay.
Understand?
Sure.
So, this is angiosperm, a flower-bearing plant.
Ma'am, our viewer Vanshika, she's suggesting if we can have a quiz on this particular chapter, it will be a fun thing. But maybe next time, because right now our time is up and we have to wrap up this session. Thank you so much for clearing the doubts of the students which they have sent in previous sessions and even today. So thank you for being here. Thank you for explaining the process once again in the fourth and the final part, though we still have some questions left and maybe we'll try and take them up in the next session. Thank you, ma'am, once again.
Thank you very much, viewers and you, Tanvi, you also.
Thank
Thank you
you.
very much.
Thank you to all the viewers. Thank you for sending your questions, and we hope we have cleared your doubts. And you can always send your questions through the same medium, ciet.kishoremanch@gmail.com. Stay with us, don't go anywhere. We're coming back very, very soon with another topic, which is comparing quantities, the third part. This is the maths session for all the class 7 students. Stay with us and stay healthy, stay safe. Namaste.